Hello everyone, I'm going to be streaming. This is coming from the test server. We're going to be testing out the new maps. Currently, basically for the 1.0 update coming out in March, Wargaming put up the test server for it today. So, we're going to be testing out the new maps here for the HD graphics. There haven't been any other changes otherwise that I've noticed to where luckily Randall and GG here are going to help out. So we're going to go through some training rooms and basically show off the new maps. I need to, kind of gather screenshots. So you're going to see me kind of tinkering around with the mini map here or there. Hello, Jack. Nice to see you. And John. Hello and goodbye, Jack. Hope you had fun today at the Phillies parade. But I plan on, making some updated weak spot guides and stuff based off of the new maps here. Now I had to lower the graphics a little bit to where hopefully I don't get any problems with dropping frames. OBS, given that the color scheme in World of Tanks has definitely gotten a little bit of an upgrade. OBS is, basically about 20% higher on the CPU usage. However, I've noticed with the rest of the game, actually my CPU usage has actually gone down. I can basically run the whole game on maxed out, and it actually uses a little bit less resources. For most maps though, like that's changed. They've made quite a few differences to where a lot of the kind of hills and stuff, as you see, are rocky to where you can't like climb up them and kind of go past, say, like a tank, stuff like that. But Abbey here, we took a look at it the last time to where I haven't noticed any changes from seeing a few other people play it as far as the overall like the big differences of the map as far as different flanks and little spots and stuff. But no doubtedly the graphics definitely look a lot different to where Wargaming stated this is kind of the first, and there's going to be several updates that they're going to be doing to the test server basically between now and most likely we're going to see at least 2 if not 3 iterations of the test server. So it should be up for, I would guess, at least several weeks here. But so far I haven't noticed really any major differences outside of like the graphics. I'm mostly interested in seeing like differences when it comes to like hills, bushes, stuff like that, to where the main difference on Abbey that we're going to find is basically the unsmoothing of kind of the rocky areas. And this has gotten a little bit of a change, I remember, to where they took out the entrances basically on either side to where there's just the one in the center now, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see, if the last time I tested this, I believe they took out this one over here. So there's minor balance changes on a lot of maps, but overall they're pretty major once you start looking at them as a whole, to where that's definitely more fair for both sides now, whereas previously this side had a little bit of an advantage pushing because their entrance was a little bit better to get into. It looks like as far as getting over to kind of the area on this side, I don't think it's possible anymore, given that they took out the entrance over there, where we're gonna see a lot less kind of climbs and stuff on maps. However, I did see someone in a mouse got to the top of Fjords somehow, climbing over some rocks. Basically, they got on top of one of the mountains. But so far, you know, Abbey here seems pretty straightforward to where it definitely looks a lot better. But as far as raw changes go, I haven't seen anything outside of it's going to be a little bit harder to definitely flank some people. Hello, Gus. Nice to see you. So basically, plan is going to kind of go down the list and see each map and the changes. T100 versus T3485. Which that's one thing. Shooting him down there, they've changed basically the indicators. So penning there, critical hit. When I bounced off of him, you'll notice here, ricochet. So it gives you a lot more detailed information now, just based off of basically what each one of your shells does to someone's armor. I thought it was pretty cool when I first saw it, to where it's definitely going to help out, like explaining certain things to people, to where you just don't see like, oh, that bounced, or if you don't catch it really quick, it'll help kind of explain what each shell does. All right, let me invite him back here. If you do want to see, you know, for whatever reason you want to see me drive around in a specific tank, I'll gladly, you know, hop into one. Alright, so I need to modify the room. Let's go down to Airfield now. Hop into this here. But you can kind of be excited as far as what I'm going to be doing. I most likely, even as early as tomorrow, I might get started on them. Start reworking some of my map strategies. The main thing I need, I'm taking screenshots basically at the beginning of the battles here, when I get the map a little larger, and you know, it doesn't take into account my overlay. Yeah, this is the first time, you know, I'm seeing some of these, you know, as far as playing, so I don't know yet. But basically I need to grab screenshots to where I can crop out, see, you know, all the tanks on the mini-map. My guess is the favorite one I am going to like is probably will be Fisherman's Bay. I don't know if it's on the test currently. I didn't take a look to see if they included all the maps, but most likely the Fisherman's Bay reworks look a little bit better. That's one map to where it can be really lopsided. So looking at this side so far, that still has pretty good cover. It looks like they reduced a little bit of the cover from Artie. The bushes here are in the same spots. No changes there as well. Which, as far as graphic settings go here, I have most things like on ultra and high. I lowered some of like the post processing and stuff like anti-aliasing and stuff like that, just because, you know, like I mentioned when we're on Abbey, the color scheme for each map and in general is pretty drastic compared to the game that, you know, is currently on the live server, to where OBS was kind of yelling at me that I was using Usually OBS uses about 40% of my CPU streaming on the live server here, or not here, but the live server before the HD maps, and it was using about 70% when I was trying to stream before I popped on here. I was just doing like a private test, so no changes here so far, aside from like a few little rocks have changed shape. And again, noting, so a tactic you see me do a lot when I'm rushing on somebody, to where you used to be able, because everything was flatter, you used to be able to kind of ride up the wall and kind of zoom right past the tank that's kind of sitting down there. You're not going to be able to do that anymore on a lot of maps. Like here is still smooth, but if you look at some of the other sides, you're not going to be able to pull that off. Trying not to flip myself over either. Hello, Merlin. Well, yes. You know, this is kind of, you know, second time this week I've had an unscheduled stream, to where, honestly, when I got done finishing this morning, it was about an hour later that Wargaming popped up the test server here for what they're going to call 1.0. So on the test server, it's called 9.23, which it looks like. Nah, I thought this might be a little bit extended, but it's about the same. My scheduled stream is still for tomorrow night, but I figured I'd pop on the test server here. Randall was very nice to offer, and GG popping in here too, to kind of test out on the training rooms, the new maps. So I need to grab, you know, screen grabs of the mini maps to start reworking some of my guides. Because some maps changed pretty drastically. So far, Abbey and Airfield, it's mainly minor when it comes to like small little spots, and specifically here on Airfield, it doesn't seem like they touched really anything except for basically the rock outcrops and like the heights of them and kind of the edges of them, to where it's going to provide more arty cover in some spots, less in other spots. Hello, Doug, nice to see you. F6, which this, that's, maybe not, it's about the same. It looked like it had a little bit more arty cover. But some spots like this is a little bit steeper. You'll be able to hide from arty a little bit better there. They removed the watchtower from here, so that's honestly a good thing for this side, because a lot of times that watchtower kind of gave away your position. Unless somebody destroyed it. That might have been it. That might have been the case, seeing that rubble there. Hello, Dingo. Nice to see you. Aha. That's a nice spot there, GG. I am really bad at this stuff, so... Huh, that's actually pretty nifty that... So this is a new spot that GG pointed out here. Granted, this is in a T100, but... I would reckon that most tanks can pull that off. Even a heavy tank. So that's a new thing. I don't think the other side's gonna have it. Hello, Pesmed, nice to see you. Yeah, the other side doesn't have it, so that's pretty cool. Where, yeah, this side's honestly, I like to pop down on this side a lot. You see me do. You see me do a lot when I had to kind of bail out. But so far with Abbey and Airfield here, you're going to expect much of the same. I would guess, you know, Abbey, there's a slight rebalance when they did, there's a couple little changes in the center and also in like the 8 line. but that's going to play basically identical. And this flank here, the spot GG pointed out, will actually make it a little bit slated towards this side, pushing towards the other side that they spawned on. But aside from that, it doesn't look like there's many changes to this map. When we get to Pilsing, I'm pretty sure Pilsing's in this. I could be mistaken though. Pilsing is an almost entirely different map. I think we've covered the map here. I'm probably gonna jump off. That looks like a nice little ramp. This will be... oh god. Well, didn't kill myself there. I was gonna say, that is going to be something that probably pops up in a lot of cutout GIFs and memes, if I had to guess. Let's go for a slightly bigger ramp. But that just screams jump off of me and try to smash somebody. There we go. On to the next map, which it is nice. I was a little bit worried that Wargaming wouldn't have like the map set up for encounter mode and assault and stuff. However, looking at setting up the training room, they do have that available. Because the last test that they had, they didn't have it ready. Which, let me actually get the map changed to Cliff. Or let's switch to something brand new here. Let's go to Westfield. I'll pop back because I saw Cliff last time as well. Which I'm picking the T100 light tank since, you know, it's fairly mobile. That way I can get around the map pretty quickly. So I'll just pop back and forth between, I guess, top and bottom, and then work our way to the center. But tomorrow night, you know, I may start out, honestly, on the test server here again. I still do plan on platooning. Which, so this is putting on like a tinfoil hat here, but honestly, I almost I kind of feel like, you know, since this kind of came out of the blue a day after, hello Dat Boy, nice to see you. I almost feel like since this came out of the blue, you know, a day after they released 9.22, you know, basically on NA and EU, and basically 2 days after RU, they've had a lot of negative feedback about the 9.22 patch. I almost feel like they put this up a little bit earlier than they want it to, given that there are glitches and still stuff wrong with some maps, as that boy stated with Himmelsdorf. I saw, like I said, about a mouse climbing up on top of one of the really high up mountains on Fjords. And, you know, there's some graphical problems with some people for like sniper mode and stuff like that. So Westfield, so far, it looks Yeah, this side looks the same. I don't really head over here very much, but as far as what I remember, which I don't believe it was like this before, not that this matters much, but having this will be counted as soft ground here. I don't think it was like that before. Hello, Leonard. Nice to see you. But that little hill here seems the same as far as the slope on it and everything. It does seem like there's a little bit addition to the slope there. So that that problem you can fix. So you have to go in. It's like clearing the cache for the game. It's in like app data, stuff like that. You have to delete that, which it'll delete your settings, but sometimes that will fix it when it comes to test servers. I remember I had to do that for the first like sandbox test for the new HD graphics. But no changes as far as here. Buildings got a little bit smaller over this way, but it doesn't matter too much since really just already heads over here. I see GG has made his way out onto the bridge that I'm sure a lot of people are going to be climbing on now that you can drive on it. I don't know if that's an improvement or not, given how certain people play. But one thing, you know, that I'll give Wargaming credit for is not only did they, you know, improve the graphics, but they basically made each map feel unique, you know, in the look. And I had to disable the music just because the way Wargaming does their music, to where, you know, technically I can stream it, but afterwards it gets flagged for copyright, or at least the music that was in the game. They updated a lot of it. Each map, from what I could tell, I played a few battles before going live here, just to test out my graphics settings, to where each map kind of has its own individual starting music that's kind of a new theme for it. So not only, you know, do maps look better, which this definitely has changed, I would say this is actually going to be pretty... Yeah, this is actually going to play pretty differently here. To where I would say some tanks like heavies, they might still be able to get up that, but definitely lights can get up there. So this area has definitely changed, I would say, for the better. It'll definitely help with attacking, being able to get down easier. But also with defending, say a tank with pretty good gun depression like a Kranwagen or something, or even a Strep 103B setting up at the bottom will be a little bit easier. This area, it's been smoothed out a little bit, but I mainly am looking for this, to where I noticed in one of their videos they removed, so on the live server, basically there's another little dip and then it raises back up, to where you'll notice a lot of like TDs and stuff positioned there, to where now in the HD map you'll be able to hold down and set up here, but there's a little bit less cover once you push out over this first ridge. If you decide to sit in a bush, you're gonna have to sit in a bush back here, which, you know, if you don't have gun depression, it's going to be a little bit more difficult for TDs to camp in this specific spot. I noticed that in, you know, a video here, and it also looks like I think it's just the graphic changes, to where basically the elevations here look the same, but this definitely looks a little bit different. Hello, Floyd. Nice to see you. Yeah, I thought it looked a little different, but no. I'll take that back. But basically the center here looks the same. However, it's going to be a little bit harder for TDs to camp back here unless you have a bit of gun depression. You'll be basically spot it easier, and you'll have to sit back further. This I would This, I reckon, actually sits much lower than it does on a live server, so it's steeper. So that'll give you more arty cover here. From this side. The other side looks roughly the same. And then back here, this depression's a little bit more pronounced than it currently is. And let's see what this sniping area looks like back here. Okay, so they took out back here. You'll notice on the... Basically, currently in 9.22, there's a bit of a dip here to where you're actually able to hide pretty well and pull your tank back and not get shot. So they remove that as well, to where there's a small dip, but you're not going to be able to hide your tank anymore. You still have kind of a spot to where, not seeing through the bushes here, you'll still be able to pull behind them and fire without being seen if you have decent camo, but you're not going to be able to basically hold down over here either. Hello, Rotary. That's actually a little bit of a drop there too. Got a nice little puddle where people spawn. I don't know, it probably will count as soft ground, so that'll actually make it harder to drive through that for like heavies. Well, see, I don't mind too much about the climbing thing. I never really got into it and really thought it was that useful, but I know some people like it. To me, if they add it, say like spots in that you could climb to, as long as it's like part of the map balance, I think that's perfectly fine. It's spots to where like Wargaming never intended someone to like climb up and jump off of, that I feel like is the problem. I don't think you can jump off the bridge, but we'll give it a go. I'm gonna go on the right here. No, there's an invisible. Maybe there's not an invisible wall. But basically, you know, say, you know, there is a, like the mountain in the A1 corner on this map here. If you could climb up that, as long as it made sense from like both sides and, you know, they intended it, I'm fine with it. But to me, you know, I'm fine with them preventing people from climbing the spots they never intended someone to get to. But, you know, to me, adding spots and maps where it gives people more options, you know, I'm fine with that, to where the more complex maps are, I'm happy. Oh lord, there's Tundra attack and defense. I honestly don't know how well that's gonna work. I don't think that's actually gonna be in the game. Unless that's gonna be new. But let's hop into Tundra here. Hop into this battle here. I played this. This was one of the maps I played before hopping into the stream, and honestly, it went from probably being one of the grayest and dullest maps to where it honestly looks awesome now. I was playing, it was actually my first battle where I was playing on all ultra settings, and this looks, it's close to where ultra I had to turn down the post-processing a bit, so the shadows are just a pinch worse, but it looks like a completely different map and actually brings a little bit of life to it. But again, like GG said there, you never knew that it was in like a mining area, to where they added, you know, a lot of character to each map. So far they reworked this just a little bit, but that's gonna play about the same. Hello, Russian dude. This is definitely a little bit more pronounced here, especially that pass changes a little bit. And again, like right now, this is like a little hill, and with a rock on it, I believe, on the live server, to where that's definitely a little bit larger to get around. This is definitely widened as well, to where currently on live, this is basically a wall starting right here, and then it kind of ducks in to where now you're gonna have a you're actually gonna have an extra spot this way, and also have that same rock to kind of fight on. And they smoothed out right here. Basically, this ledge kind of came out a little bit this way, and always did me in, because you'd have like something hold down behind it. So this change is definitely nice. It opens up this flank a little bit, and that side has this little thing, and this side has these two spots, plus the center. So that actually changed quite a bit here. Yeah, I actually like this change, honestly. It gives you a lot more options on pushing, defending, and it's not, you know, just a straight push. And hoping that you have the greater numbers. Where Tundra, it's one of my least favorite maps, to where that will definitely go a long way with fixing that. Back here doesn't look too much different as far as like arty spots, but it's basically not a climb anymore. This used to be more elevated. Oh god, don't want to flip myself over. This area is still a little bit of a depression, so you can hold down and fire straight into this line. Doesn't look like they changed any buildings over here either. Which, anyone kind of concerned about whether your, computer is going to run this? Hello, Englewood. Nice to see you. I wouldn't have too many concerns unless you run World of Tanks on like standard graphics with anything, I would say, like under like medium settings. Like if you're running really low settings on standard graphics, then your PC might struggle a little bit. But overall, I've noticed, looking at other people posting their kind of reactions from this, and also, from testing my usage as well, since, I had to factor in streaming and like OBS using stuff. I haven't noticed the game use too many more resources on high settings. It almost seems like it uses less than it did before. It kills me when it comes to OBS, because OBS is having to render more colors, but World of Tanks is actually using less GPU and CPU than it did prior to me. Can you climb up? If you're talking about like the high elevated areas, no, it didn't seem like you could there. This area, a little bit different here, but mostly the same. A lot of this, I'm kind of judging like the angles of stuff and like hardcover, to where it definitely looks completely different here, given that Tundra is just a bunch of gray, snowy dirt right now. But they've mainly changed that other flank, basically the 1-2 line. I haven't noticed too many changes elsewhere, outside of like really far towards the bases where the SPGs sit. You have to screen cap your 1 FPS. They did remove, I remember seeing it in a video, so up here, thank you ZRG for the follow on Twitch. They did remove basically the camping spot here. So currently on Tundra, this is elevated and then it goes up, and you can actually get up to an area up here. So more or less, for a lot of TDs, they removed it. I'm not sure if you'll be able to kind of vault yourself up here, but that's going to be pretty big, to where you're not going to be able to really snipe and camp as well here, unless like you're in a really I guess, large TD, you might be able to shoot over. But for stuff like a Strev 103B that you see a lot of times, like get up in this spot, or like a grill or something, you're not going to be able to kind of pounce up in that area. So that's a nice change. Hello, nice guy. Nice to see you. Alright, so GG found a boost. I think this was... maybe he did. Maybe they didn't intend you to get up there. Yeah, it looks like they tried to remove it because you can get up there. You can get up there currently a little bit easier than that. Yes, Merlin, you do. There's actually more graphic options than there previously was. Hello, Strike. So they implemented Tessellation. You can kind of toggle that if you're in sniper mode or not in sniper mode, and it says it only works within like 50 meters of your tank. Hello, Fahad, nice to see you. I'm doing pretty well. This looks all the same here, except for that's a little bit different, the climb down there. Hello, nice Guppa, nice to see you too. But as far as most of the map here, it's looking very much the same, except for like small differences in the terrain, which that's where, you know, I'm grabbing screenshots of the mini maps. I want to make sure I actually get enough so I can crop out everything. This area is slightly different, where it takes me a while with you know, making map strategies to where every little bump can matter. Like something like that, you can potentially hold down behind it if it's an important spot on the map. So it's just something to where it's gonna take me a while to kind of redo some of these, because a bunch of little spots are gonna change. That's a little bit more open on this. This side's definitely a little bit more open now. Thank God the bridge got a little bit wider. But it's no, I don't. How did I not die there? I don't know how I didn't die. But the main change with Tundra here is definitely this one line. Coming in hot. Let's see if I can, for anyone just joining in. So they reworked that as far as seeing ricochets and stuff like that. I don't think running in basic will give you an advantage, no. Which they took out. Like, I'll show the graphic settings quickly in between matches here. It will be a little bit more of a pleasure. You're right there, Damaco. It will be more of a pleasure losing. The graphics are better. Alright, so let me hop into this guy now. But as far as graphic settings, they removed, as far as what I saw, Which I disabled some stuff like the view range and stuff since I need to get screenshots. But this screen's the same. Which if anyone runs it in a borderless window, it changes to full screen. You'll have to switch that back. Where actually they did. They did keep standard in. I thought they said they were gonna remove it, so that's honestly a plus for most people. So I guess you don't have to worry about whether or not you can run the game, because I thought they said they were taking the standard graphic render out, so they kept that in and you have improved. I'm not sure what it looks like. I'm not going to try it out since I had to reset, but I had to basically lower like the post-processing and stuff and things that were a little CPU heavy, given that I'm streaming here. But they added in tessellation here. You still have options to really customize stuff too. This is a pretty simple map. They did rework this map a bit when it comes over to this side. They had drastically opened it up on the first like sandbox test when it came to the new maps, and they definitely reworked that, given that it was a little bit unbalanced. I'm interested to see what it looks like, to be honest. Which, let me, before I forget here, start a giveaway on YouTube. Since I'm not really playing, I'm gonna do 1,000 Levi biscuits here for the winner. Alright, let's start this way and work our way up. Make sure I get enough screenshots. You still have the climbs back here. A little bit harder to get up some, but they're the same. But this area is definitely reworked a little bit. These hills are pushed back a little bit, and it's not just like one line to where they dip down in between, so it's a little bit harder for enemies to advance. And this is a lot more pronounced now as far as fighting on this hill. It's actually viable to set up here, and you're not going to get shot too much from the center, unless it's like Artie or something. But they made this side a little bit more balanced, to where attacking and defending, it's a little bit more straightforward than just running to basically what this rock used to be. So tessellation, basically the two settings, if you have both enabled, you know, it'll work in sniper mode and also just like currently in this view. So it extends about 50 meters, it says, from your tank. So what tessellation does, from my understanding, is it basically just adds greater detail to the terrain. Basically, I don't want to get too technical because I'm probably wrong. So with how most things are made with like polygons, and you know, you can sometimes see with lower graphics things are more jagged. So tessellation basically draws and makes it more detailed as far as the terrain goes in World of Tanks with the setting that they have in there. So basically, you're going to notice you can actually destroy things now, to where it's not going to actually allow you to dip down here as far as what I can see. But improved graphic settings, because tessellation only works on, I believe, high and ultra. You'll notice that the ground actually kind of deforms, and it just basically adds more detail to the terrain around you. It doesn't have too much to do with other stuff, say like lighting and stuff, but I believe it also would affect, say, water as well. But whereas that got destroyed there, again, it doesn't affect, say, cover and stuff, which as you can see, shooting sand looks differently than over there, shooting at dirt. Let's see if I can shoot something a little bit further away, and it does work at further distances too. But this side as a whole definitely is going to play differently. Cool. And this they definitely changed this side quite a bit as well. Fahad, basically, you know, I don't think Wargaming's changed it to where high and low settings give you any advantage over one another. The only thing I would say that does matter is, you know, if you have grass in sniper mode, sometimes it makes it a little bit harder to, you know, hit people in sniper mode. Which this side's definitely different. The other side has more options with like the hill and stuff, but it plays somewhat similarly. This side is a lot different. This is the test server, Riddle. They popped it up about midday today. But Tessellation's something to where I took it off in sniper mode, just in case it, like, you know, kind of borked it while I'm streaming here. But that's something that is somewhat CPU heavy, I believe. Alright, so pretty big changes over on that side. I don't think they changed too much over here. Outside it looks really pretty over here with the water. And also the nice little cliff, but still roughly the same. Looks like I thought the train extended a little bit further over here, but I could be wrong. But this area is a little bit more open. I feel like, yeah, over here was a little bit more hilly and you can kind of fall back a little bit better, where now you're just going to be able to fall back in that little gully. Congrats, nice guy, on winning the raffle. Now this is a little bit different, so you're actually going to have a little bit of cover here to where I guess technically, nah, you're not going to be safe from TDs back here, but you will at least be safe from over this way. So that's a little bit of a new addition, and it's also smoother here to where before this was a little bit more hilly. And they definitely kind of edge this out a little bit to where, honestly, this map actually feels a little bit larger, at least over here, to where there's more room in between the edge. And definitely this position of kind of this where both sides meet is placed a little bit differently, to where it's a little bit more even, whereas before this side pushing had a pretty big advantage. Yeah, they did remove some bushes. I'm gonna have to scour over each map to figure out what's changed specifically. It's kind of hard to like take everything in. I'm trying not to, you know, I set some maps at like 10 minutes. This one I set at 8, to where, you know, I don't want to spend like, say, 30 minutes on one map. I'd like to reach them all if I can tonight. But the biggest change is definitely on that flank over there, hands down. Like for both sides, it's gonna be difficult. I'm gonna see whether or not one side has an advantage over one another. My guess is, honestly, coming from this side, you're definitely, if you have tanks that can hold down, like he said, because I'm thinking GG meant that area, which the center here looks virtually the same. This is definitely going to be pretty easy to hold if you have like places for your tanks to hold down. Whereas the other side looks like it's going to be a little bit more difficult, given that your team might just end up, which that looks decently protected from Artie, but it looks like your team on this side is going to have some hurdles to cross, to where I'm not sure how many people are going to head out to this area. But I could see a lot of teams kind of camping back further on this flank from the northern team. But for enemies attacking from the south, it'll provide a little bit more options to kind of push through here. A couple different routes. So honestly, I would say the south might actually have an advantage on that side. So let's modify. We got Siegfried line. Actually, just in case here, I'm actually gonna pop that but if there's any map you want to see before any others, I'll gladly hop into them a little bit sooner. I do plan on hoping to get to all of them here. That way I can nab all these screenshots for the mini maps. I'm probably gonna start alphabetically when it comes to maps too. Well, thank you very much, Randall, Wyatt, for helping out with this. I remember last stream I did the HD maps. I had to rely on some Russian friends, but they were, they're pretty helpful. TD unfriendly? Honestly, I wouldn't say some maps actually feel, it might just be the graphics, but until I kind of get into things, some maps actually feel a little bit larger, honestly, and which bodes well for tank destroyers. But none of the maps so far, I would say I've seen any changes that I would say would kill TDs. I'm just starting with the area to where I don't think there's going to be many changes out here. Redshire? No. I haven't done Fjords yet either. Hello, Phil. Hey, at least you got a badge out of it. Nice, Cuppa. Alright, so this side looking the same here. Yeah, I don't think they removed anything, but this is definitely much more pronounced, the dip here. But it looks like the bunkers are in the same side. This dip's a little bit smaller too, but not as much as the other side. Hello, Knox, nice to see you. Yeah, I started with Abbey, and first I started alphabetically at the top. Now I'm starting from the bottom. Yeah, that's the same. Alright, so the field's basically the same outside of the little dip in F1. It's a little bit deeper, it looks like. It's still hard to say because the graphics do make things look a lot different. Which I'm curious, some areas on the maps you see now have, different areas with water and stuff, to where I'm curious if that will affect mobility at all. Hello, Dimai, nice to see you. Well, thanks for tuning in. I'm glad I'm able to, check him out too. So this has definitely changed a little bit. So that's a little bit smaller to get through, not by much, but it looks smaller. But coming from this side, you still have the two bushes here that I use a lot to spot. However, this is definitely not as low as it once was, to where you still have a little bit of cover, it looks like, but it's definitely a little bit smaller than before. Most tanks are still going to be able to utilize, kind of poking out shooting here, but that definitely looks a little bit different than it used to be. I haven't noticed, that's where I'm curious if they modeled this. It feels the same, but the T100 is a pretty mobile tank, to where it's hard to tell. But I'm curious if they did kind of model that as like soft ground. I know, someone does look like they like some puddles. I would honestly be excited if they did, kind of model that as soft ground. So this is definitely less of a... So coming from, you know, I played this map. I don't think I played it this past stream, but I played it several times to stream before, I believe. The slope here is definitely smaller by a lot. So that's nice because it used to feel like you're driving down to like a bottomless pit. I hear a woodpecker. I don't know if that picked up because I have the audio, you know, a little bit low, but I could hear a woodpecker. Or at least I did. I didn't hear it anymore. But as far as mobility, yeah, there it is again. I don't know if they modeled the water as soft terrain. So, for anyone that doesn't know what I'm talking about, so in World of Tanks, it doesn't state it in the client in the comparison, but basically there's hard ground, soft ground, moderate ground, to where roads typically are hard. Most like grassy areas and stuff, if I'm not mistaken, are moderate, and then soft ground is like Lakeville in the basically the valley. So a couple little changes back there with that not being as much of a ditch, but that's still elevated on that part. It looks like they also removed, so this is gonna, honestly this is TD unfriendly here. They removed a couple of the little pieces of concrete here that you can use as cover, but that still is there at the very least. The walls are a lot more pronounced here. It's kind of strange seeing castle walls though, but a little bit more arty cover, and definitely a little bit of a rework as far as here. You're not going to be able to shoot through basically the little archways anymore. I was going to say, I haven't made it to Lakeville yet. Hopefully they don't ruin it, because I kind of like Lakeville. A little bit easier to get up in this spot too, with actually a little bit out of cover. You still have no cover at the end, but you know, that used to be a spot where people could get into, but you never could really utilize. So they reworked that a little bit. Sasquatch. It looks like they kept the archways on this side at the very least. They also kept the archway over here. I was about to say, I'd be sad if they took out all the archways. That freaking car that trolls the hell out of me a lot of times, because you can't fire through it sometimes. It soaks up your shell. So they removed a couple archways over there, but they still left the ones in the center that get utilized a little bit more. So much to see. This looks, it's about identical. However, they did kind of close that up, so you're only going to fit through there maybe in like a low tier, but won't be able to get through that anymore except for... Alright, maybe you can still get through there. I stand mistaken, or I stand corrected. But you can actually get through here still if you actually have good driving, which I don't. Alright, so it's still about the same. It feels like there's still little walls here that make it a little bit difficult to hit tanks, you know, unless you can judge correctly. Oh, even 90s are gonna be running into a lot of things and also probably hiding behind a lot of stuff. I guess people have to eat somewhere, Kappa. Which this has definitely changed a bit, this corner. Definitely a little bit differently coming from either side. So that's definitely going to be a pretty big change, even though it doesn't look like it. Waiting against the clock to see the rest of the map. They filled up that hole, thank God, because I always forget about it and I get shot through it and I always hate myself for it. Not seeing too many changes back here. Hello, Jeffrey. Nice to see you. Do I plan? I don't play 7 different games now. I only do my one Tuesday stream. It does look like they extended kind of the low area back here a little bit. But it doesn't seem too different elsewhere around the cap here. But yeah, Tuesdays I play a different game, but for the most part, you know, 7 different games in a week would honestly kill me. Ride the wave. Oh Lord, I made it. I am honestly surprised I made that. I believe that might be the case, Phil. I could be wrong. But that water actually looked pretty cool there, to be honest. I was actually surprised by that. Alright, so let's modify this. We got Serene Coast here. So let's see how Serene Coast. That would be cool though. I hope they do something like that with snow or ice. I haven't gotten any pure, say like winter maps, but I think we're getting to them. Hello, Fairy Groot. Nice to see you. However, thinking about it though, I didn't see Arctic region in the selection here because it's not the live server. No, this is the test server. They, you know, pretty quick turnaround, which honestly, it's a little bit of a rush job because, you know, not all the maps seem to be here that they're going to release with. And also, you know, I almost feel like they put it out because they're getting a bit of pushback when it comes to basically 9.22. Daisy, I'm going a complete wrong direction. I don't think you could do that. About this almost feels like they almost feels unfinished, honestly, compared to the last map. Oh, Arctic region is under a different name? Okay. Aha, they renamed it the Mannerheim Line. They're just trying to screw me over with having to pronounce something differently. Unless they revert it back, because I've seen that name before, kind of in replays. Not too much of a difference out this way. I feel like people are going to be shooting the water just to look at it now. But yeah, not too many differences out on this flank. That area seems to still be there, where your TDs go to camp and die. Yeah, it doesn't seem like they changed too much with Serene Coast here. I'm just enjoying running over stuff, to be honest. It's like a dream come true, just being able to run over trees and boxes and stuff for me. All those buildings seem to be in the same spot. This has changed a little bit. So you still have the two different flanks, however, it just feels a little bit different, but it just feels like a little bit different as far as the incline goes. It feels a little bit smoother there. I need to keep, honestly, remembering taking screen grabs so I can... I'm not sure if this is on the live server. It might be, to be honest. I don't know. I feel like that could be a nifty spot. I don't think I've ever honestly tried to go up there, to be honest, on a live server. Even though it'll be nifty, it's not that useful for most matches. Jeffrey, you don't have to yell. Team battles? No. This is the test server, and I'm just playing in a training room. You know, please, you know, I'm just testing out new maps. You don't have to get angry about it. It doesn't seem like, from a gameplay perspective, this map has changed much here. Seems like they've kept everything almost identical, outside of probably, you know, just a little bit of smoothing out in a couple spots and just changing, you know, the rock formations around. Which, you know, Serene Coast, I thought they would change it a little bit, to be honest, because, you know, it's definitely a map to where I find like there's a lot of blowouts on it. I just want to make a wave again. That's what I'm looking for. You're just gonna see like start playing like the Jaws theme song, and you're just gonna see like a little blob of water coming at you. I'm definitely not gonna make it out of here. Wonder, I'm still going deep, so basically if you're submerged, it just makes a static kind of wave above you. That's kind of what I thought it would be. I don't think that they would like dynamically render that. Jeffrey, anyone can play this. It's, you just download the test server. It's open for everybody on PC. But, you know, not too many differences there for Serene Coast. Aside from it, you know, definitely looking a lot better. So let me get to... Doesn't look like they changed Overlord much, but let me get to Ruinberg here. I'm gonna skip Sand River for now, just because I covered that last time with the HC maps, but I will try to cover that though by the end of the stream here. I kind of put like a static end time, might go a little bit longer. I might, you know, depending on how long Randall can log on here or stay on. Yeah, I might pop into some battles afterwards too. Hello, Supercar. It's still coming soon. I did check that to see. This has definitely changed a bit, the base here, to see if that changed, but there's no new tanks in the client currently. They are, they did state they're gonna have like a second and third iteration of the test here to fix like graphical bugs and stuff, to where they could add those in. But basically right now it's just testing new maps. Jeffrey, just Google World of Tanks common test server. You'll see a link. It'll probably say 9.22 still. But you can just click test client, download it, just like the standard game. Alright, got some weird sounds here. So this has definitely been reworked a bit, the camping TD area. It almost feels like Wide Park, to be honest, a little bit, with how they changed that. Check out E5? Sure thing. I'll get to there. I'm just gonna... I usually trace the edge and kind of work my way in. I'll definitely take a look at that. This area, you know, seems the same as far as the open kind of field area. They definitely squish this a little bit more. Not by much, but still going to play the same. This feels like they kind of contracted the edge there a little bit. They definitely changed this up just a pinch to where these buildings, albeit look somewhat same, they do look a little bit different from my eyes at least. Just the placement's a little bit off, which isn't a bad thing. But the town, it seems like everything's mostly in the same spots aside from just things shifting a little bit. But, you know, this map didn't need too much rebalancing in the field. Most of the changes you're going to see come with the town area. Even the bushes, they seem... it's about the same. It seems like they might have thinned out a little bit more so on that side than what was previously there. And it seems like... no, they actually did remove quite a few rocks out in this area that you used to find people kind of camp at. So the buildings changed a little bit, and you know that statue's now there, but they removed some rocks there. So as far as this area, so this is definitely new. Huh, that is actually kind of... yeah, this is definitely different. I don't know how useful this is going to be, but it will make fighting in the center a little bit different as far as this goes, and then moving a little bit further into the center. Especially, you know, this side doesn't have that, which I kind of figured... I know why they did that, because the north is still going to have a advantage getting into the center line road, given that it's a little bit closer, but they don't have that little added spot that they added in there. It would be nice if you can get through here, but no. Yeah, I saw that they had changed kind of the 1-2 line a little bit. Yeah, that's probably definitely an invisible wall, but the rest of this seems the samesies, except for that new little area here to help out the southern team if they make it into the center. So I'm just gonna scoot through here before getting into the main part of the town. But thanks Randall. I'll let you know, I'd be nice if I could get to, you know, all the maps here, but you know, definitely don't feel like obliged to, you know, stay up past what you feel comfortable doing. I can always pop in like a different training room or just play like some random battles and stuff. But you know, thanks for popping into the training rooms here and helping out. Alright, so that's mostly the same outside of, you know, the buildings being a little bit different. Whoops, I'm actually... I should not look at chat and drive. Okay, it's still mostly the same areas here. I feel like... they definitely... there's still a little hole there. But they did remove one layer of... basically the little windows here to fire out of. And like Dim Eye said, you know, this has changed a little bit, thank God, because this corner always was utilized from the southern flank, but never did it actually become that useful to where at least people can hold down, fire out of it now, and have a couple different options, and even cover kind of the center a little bit better without getting blasted from over here. But the church itself looks the same as far as these two sides. That's a little bit less cover going around here, but not much. And this is definitely a little bit wider here, but you know, as far as the same as the cubby holes and stuff in it. Thank you, Pedro, for the subscription. I feel like there weren't arches here before on this side, which didn't even look like I could shoot through that unless I hit it. No, there's actually an invisible wall there. That is strange. Hopefully they fix that because, yeah. Or no, maybe I am, no, I am shooting through it, duh. I'm confused. It looks like I wasn't shooting through that, but I just shot through it from that way. No, I definitely shot through. I'm like, that's not right. This line, it's about the same. That's a little bit more pronounced, that gap there. A little hiding spot in G1. I'll take another look at it. But this area looks like it's about the same. They did remove, there used to be a little hill of rubble here that you could use. At a hiding spot near the windows. Okay, so I'm guessing in here, if you're actually able to get in here in a smaller tank. Unless I'm missing one, but that looks to be about that there. Oh, they are there? I didn't think that they were there. Learn something new every day. Can't say I've ever really used them, to be honest. Which this is a little bit different here, so that's gonna play. I missed that passing through there quickly. So it definitely looks like the changes to the city are definitely nice. Just, you know, kind of glancing over them. But they removed a couple of the bumps. It seems like back in, you know, the parts of the town that are a little bit away from the fight. Yeah, well, you know, thanks for noting little things. It's hard for me sometimes, you know, glancing at chat and driving and trying not to kill myself stupidly to catch everything. The lovely gun on this. Guevara? Someone did state that the shell tracers, you can see them from tanks that aren't spotted, I believe. I'm not sure about artillery, but someone did state you can see, and Wargaming did change it to where, you know, the colors between different shells like AP, APCR, Heat, HE definitely are different now to where you'll notice different colors coming from them. Whereas before, you know, there's blue for like premium rounds, stuff like that. Let me hop up to Redshire now. Or I've seen Redshire to where I'm trying to get, you know, the newest maps here first. I've seen Prok, I believe. Well, Paris. Trying to cover, you know, the ones that we haven't seen first here. So let's hop into Paris here. Don't know how much they've changed Paris outside of, I believe they changed the north a little bit. Let me start another giveaway here as well. Not yet, no. I haven't reached Mountain Pass. I'm gonna say, it definitely seems a little bit more festive in Paris here. I don't know how much has changed in the south, but I'll start out going down this way. There's a crane there now. Oh, that's not really going to do any cover differences there. So Paris seems unchanged. Definitely down there hasn't been changed or altered. There's a little wall at it there. That's definitely a little but important note. Same with that. There used to be, I feel like this used to be there, but it was like a little rubble pile. You shouldn't have to worry about not being able to run the game. If you can run it now, you should be able to run it, you know, with the new client. You know, if you're worried, they do have, just Google World of Tanks Encore. There's a little test, you know, it's a benchmark. If not, you know, just download the test server here and you can give it a go. That seems, yeah, it's about the same too. Looks like there's definitely less bushes here. I feel like the bush used to be a little bit larger here, because I like hiding behind the bush over on this side. Yes, there are balloons. It seems to be the main change for Paris so far. Definitely a little thinning out of the bush there. Doesn't cover, there's a little gap there now. This area, not too important back here, but they seem virtually untouched. Yeah, it doesn't seem like they did much to Paris, which, you know, I feel like a lot of people don't like this map. I don't mind it too much. Like even this area hasn't been changed too much. Yeah, I don't mind it too much, but, you know, I feel like a lot of people would have liked it a little bit changed. It does seem like they, you know, there's still bushes on both of these kind of mounds here, but they do seem, especially this side, it's a little thinned out than it used to be. The cranes are new, but I don't know how useful the cranes are going to be outside of just stopping your shots in certain areas. But yeah, definitely not many changes when it comes to Paris. This side has a little bit of advantage when it comes to balloons. Or not balloons, bushes. Those darn balloons. So out of the maps so far, Paris, I would say, is the almost exact copy of what it currently is. So nothing to see here. I was actually curious why they haven't, I don't think they've shown off a video for Paris. I guess this is why. Because it seems, yeah, outside of a little bit of differences with the bushes, it seems like they didn't touch it. I'm going to modify the room. So we have Overlord. I think Overlord changed a little bit, but not sure. The minimap honestly looks the same. I definitely know this has changed quite a bit there. But you asked for, somebody asked if I've done Mountain Pass. Oh, there's so many maps to get through still. So let's get into Mountain Pass here. Congrats, Damien, on winning the raffle. Levi is thoroughly passed out back there. Hopping into Mountain Pass, just looking at the mini map, they definitely have added a little alcove here. Looks like this is widened a little bit. Doesn't look like too many other changes outside of maybe around a bridge as well. Yeah, Erlenberg, I definitely know that one has changed a lot looking at the video that they posted. I was trying to go alphabetically where I'm going to start breaking that rule a little bit. But I definitely want to see Erlenberg. Where, you know, this alcove is here currently on the live server, but it's definitely not as large as this. It's not that useful, but definitely noting the minimap, it's a little bit larger than it used to be. Because this rock you definitely can use on a live server. But at least that'll... it's still not that useful. I'm enlarging that a little bit. The water god is paid per puddle. Alright, so this area is virtually identical. Same rock, same bump, another rock. That rock's still there. All the samesies on this side. I feel like that, yeah, that's the same, about the same size on this. So this area hasn't changed at all, which I'm a little bit surprised. I feel like it's a little bit weighted towards the side I came from, losing a lot of times, because the enemy team has a greater chance to get here. You can still drop down in both of those areas. But no changes down there, because even that route further that way looks the same. They did add a rock here. This currently isn't there. Hey, someone started a fire. Hey, look, it disappeared. And now it's there. And now it's not. I guess that's changing the effects in sniper mode. So that rock, I don't know how useful that's going to be. Because if you're actually out on that rock, you're probably going to be screwed. Otherwise, the same. I feel like that's actually... So that's actually, I feel like it's going to be a small nerf. Because a lot of times you can have TDs kind of sitting back here. They can't be shot from there. And yet they're able to hit light tanks that basically push up here to spot for the enemy team. So you're going to have to pull up a little bit further. And even, you still have pretty good cover to where I feel like some people might overextend and get shot. So a little bit of a nerf, but honestly, I don't feel like it helps this side that much. This edge seems the same. Got the same there with that little jut out there too. That's definitely got a little steeper, but you'll probably still be able to pop down there. Right, so not too many differences outside of a couple little rocks moving to different areas. That definitely looks a lot more deadly, dropping down the cliff there. It's actually kind of nice. I thought the maps would change a lot more, to where some of these maps that haven't really changed much, that's actually much bigger than what I remember. A lot of these maps that haven't changed much, I don't think that they should have been changed much, as far as like little things like adding that rock there to both the G line and also H. That helps out a little bit. Where I was a little worried that they're gonna drastically change like almost every map, and it was going to confuse a hell of a lot of people. Trees fall down. I'm just not I'm not hitting them entirely sometimes. But not too, this area doesn't matter too much. Really just eye candy with really dirty water. So it seems like, it feels like they removed a couple of the little boulders here, but these larger ones are still a little bit further up, which you can use. So not too many changes, which is nice. Where I don't like Mountain Pass a lot of times, but it's not necessarily a balancing problem on the map. It's just, it's really just two main flanks, which they didn't really address and like say make this a little bit more viable, but it's not a bad map as far as balance wise. It's just when you get it in like a light or a medium or like an unarmored TD, it can be a little bit annoying to play. Alright, let's see if I can take a tumble here. Alright, so that didn't kill me. Maybe I'll send an email to Wargaming and ask if I can have a one-on-one meeting with their puddle creator. I was trying to do a barrel roll. Alright, so on to the next map here. A little bit upset I didn't do a complete barrel roll. Modify. Mines we've tested, which is through Arctic region here. Yes, that's exactly something I would, if it's actually in a real battle, I would save that. Because most likely I wouldn't have meant to do it, and I would basically regret doing it deeply. So finally we have a full-on winter map here. Alright. Just off the bat, I can tell this slightly changed here, but that usually doesn't come into play much. They still have kind of the divots here. Aha, yes it is. They actually do render. Oh no, I'm getting artied. That is really loud. Really cool, but that is really loud. Holy hell. But yeah, the sound sounds pretty cool there. Honestly, this looks awesome as far as the snow. Thought Randall was pulling out some really hardcore arty there on me. Yeah, Matchmaker is, which this has been changed a little bit as far as the hills here. Not much, but it's definitely noticeable. Yeah, Matchmaker is pretty random. They did add a little bit more bushes here, though, to kind of break that up. Where, you know, unfortunately, I don't think they'll ever do skill-based matchmaking for random battles. Bunch of planes destroyed here. This is a lot different here. Still can't, you know, get over it or anything. Unless, I would reckon I might try that at the end to see if you can get around there. This would be a pretty good last stand, though, if you're getting pushed from where I just came from. But that's definitely different there, for better or for worse. Honestly, the snow, we need more snow maps now, Wargaming, because this looks awesome. Not too many differences outside of that. Shooting the snow. Alright, so it basically just blows it away. I think that might be a little bit too much graphical strain for what they want to do for most people. I don't have everything set on max, which they changed this a little bit, but that'll actually be easier to defend. They smooth that out a little bit. This still looks about the same. Which I actually forgot. Oopsie daisy. I forgot to take screen grabs. Bad Cody. Looks mostly the same as far as the different divots and stuff. Yeah, a lot of different stuff does move around with you now as far as pieces on the map. I wonder if you can drive on the ice still, or they might have actually removed it. Still got a little bit of area to hold down there. But yeah, they removed the ice that you could actually drive over if you're careful. But this side doesn't seem like they changed this. Elevations seem the same, but they did. Yeah, it does look a little bit more arty cover because there used to be like a gap here. It looks like it's further back maybe. So a little bit more arty cover, but they added a couple little notches to where it might actually be a little bit easier to defend here now. And they definitely smoothed it out to where you can't really hold down anymore. It's just flat all the way across. So it's all going to be about side scraping. Coincidentally, you know, those new Russian tanks are really good at that. So definitely some changes here, you know, in Arctic region. This, you know, if they keep the name Mannerheim Line or whatever it's called. But I think that's just what it's been called on the Russian side in the client for a while. Definitely pretty though, with all the snow. I'm gonna try to get through that one spot I noted earlier. But the main changes, you know, you're gonna find, so they smoothed out down here where I just passed, and they definitely changed quite a bit up in the north west corner here. Doesn't seem like they changed anything really in the center though. But yeah, the main change is basically to the two brawling areas. But I'm just curious if it's probably going to end very badly, because no, you actually can get over. Oh no. Okay, so maybe you can get over there, but not if you drive like an idiot like I do. Alright, so you can get across there. Just don't do it like I did. Oh Lord. I took that a little bit too fast to where it looked like I was falling. just because it was pulling me, but I stupidly turned left. Alright, modify and a new Erlenberg, like you mentioned, changed quite a bit. Let's hop into this guy here. You said F1 was playable too? I honestly forget where F1 is, to be honest. Okay, down kind of near that one base in the south. Well, if you update it and you want to pop in, Gus, feel free. I think it's like 5-6 gigabytes the update. Alright, so Erlenberg, obviously, you know, just right off the get-go, the map's completely different. Like Dim said, it's the map that got changed the most here, especially when it comes to the outer edges. Alright, so right off the bat, the base definitely looks different here. Levi's doing pretty well, Drew. Thanks for asking. Where you have a lot more tree cover here looking out, you know, over to the castle area. Looks like you can still drive across here too. But this is a, okay, maybe not in a T100 as well as I would like to. But pretty massive changes when it comes to this map. A lot more cover when you kind of exit through this side as well, with trees, building, even a little ditch area that you can kind of make your way up without getting instantly spotted and vaporized. So that's definitely nice. I guess Randall Randall did almost what I did there. I was gonna say, I almost did the same exact thing. It looks like you can drive through easily, like on the mini map here. So that looks like a passage. You have that, and then it looks maybe here and there, but who knows. If you're asking why I'm taking screenshots, I need to take screen grabs, a few of them, of the mini maps, and then I cut out, which I guess I should take it when I'm off the cap. Whoopsie. I cut out basically my tank, and that's how I make my map strategies. Alright, so let me continue, or I'll go this way. No do-overs. Or, no, I'll stick with this side. Just, I'll bypass going through the water there, though. But yeah, that ridge there, you know, where the first try here, that's gonna look like a pretty major spot for people to kind of camp and shoot from. But definitely some pretty massive changes here to Erlenberg. Oh, you're just trying to remind me? Thanks. Sometimes I am forgetting to take them sometimes. At least early on in matches. Here's the edge. The edge is a little bit harder to see sometimes. Hey, there's an airplane that got shot down. No, I got no gun elevation. Alright, so this little hill's still here, but it's definitely in a different position. This is gonna actually take a while to be able to figure out all these little changes, to be honest. So I would definitely go with this is the most changed map of them all. For the better, because Erlenberg definitely has quite a few issues with it currently. You shot that down? So less cover, basically from this wall. However, more cover pushing that way. However, it's going to be hard to cross if they have a lot of people kind of camping. I wonder... yeah, it doesn't look deep. I'm not too sure it's actually worth getting out here, to be honest. Unless, you know, you can kind of hide behind... I guess you can kind of stay hidden here. I just wonder how many people are actually gonna pop open or pop through here. I guess it is a little easier to get through there. But yeah, this map is gonna be really situated on view range, more so than usual. They removed basically the entire hill on this side too, which I think is for the better, to where you have the castle. The other side I feel like has a pretty big advantage because this side doesn't really have too many spots to sit back and shoot except for here. The other side has that whole line of trees that you can kind of play off of. There's some pretty big changes there. More cover at it in the center, of course, with the buildings in the town here. I feel like this map, looking at all the changes here, is probably going to take several months, I would feel like, for people to kind of adjust to it. Even myself. So, but to me, like I said earlier, I'm all for them making maps more kind of complex, yeah, to where, you know, it looks like the same map, you know, kind of from, the mini map, but it's definitely, this is going to play a lot differently, and there's a lot of little cubby holes to use. Wonder, nope, they're not destructible, thank God. How many people are going to go to the pointless little island in the center? Most likely a lot, because, yeah, it does seem like you're able to drive through that, especially from that other side. So it definitely seems like, you know, it's still going to play, I almost feel like it might play opposite now to how it currently is. So, you know, most of the time you find people push really hard for... Oh god. Someone just popped into the team training and I have the voice mic on and someone just meowed at me. So I feel like it's going to play opposite to where the side coming north to south here, it's going to be a little bit easier to defend this side, I feel like, and fight on this area, given that this has the trees on this end, the other side has it on this end. But it feels a little bit better balanced. But who knows until you know, look at all the little ins and outs of the map. But basically it seems like they chopped off the hill over here, and then they chopped off the hill over on this way. So yeah, that seems like the gist of the changes on the outer edge, is just clipping off this hill area and that hill area to kind of almost like a yin-yang. And then definitely some pretty massive changes, you know, with the castle area and both town areas here. Which, you know, people saying lights won't be useful. This is going to be one of the maps where light tanks are going to be pretty deadly on, given the amount of open areas. Heavies are still going to... I almost feel like heavies are going to gravitate towards the center a lot more. And then you have mediums, lights, TDs kind of fighting on the outer edges. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of ins and outs here. I think I'm gonna have my hands full, honestly. This is probably gonna be the map strategy that takes me, I don't know. Didn't notice. I remember them saying something, but yeah, I didn't notice that until now, Randall. I almost flipped myself over. This is probably going to take me, I would say, like 3 hours maybe to make a map strategy for this one. But yeah, I feel like how, just kind of looking at it, you're going to have a lot of like heavier tanks gravitate towards the center, you know, kind of fighting down either side. And then, you know, basically heavies with gun depression, you know, fighting in these two areas, mediums and lights kind of assisting and spotting. You have TD spots, you know, pushing this way here, or sitting back here on this way. And from the southern team, TDs back in this area, this little hill here. And also you still have, not really though, over here. So yeah, it seems like a good change to the map. It's definitely going to promote a lot more different tactics, and both sides kind of for the caps. You know, this side has the bushes here facing across, so people are going to have to push in to spot you. And this side has a line of trees here, so they're going to have to push in to spot you there. I might as well drown myself here. It'll be a little faster. Make my little bubble here. I think I'm going to be disabling the voice chat if someone keeps meowing. I wonder if they're waiting. Like, I'll bring them into the battle if they're still here. We got a few people still here. Definitely going to be turning the sound off because that is a little bit creepy. Like Ensk changed the bit too. Yeah, it's one thing to where, you know, I haven't gotten a chance to do Assault and Encounter just because, you know, I'm trying to cover as many maps as possible. I'll try to take a look after this one for an Assault and Encounter. Or I guess you're watching, Randall. Yeah, you have some teammates to play with now. I wonder if it's the person that... It sounded like a meow, but... It looks like they added some buildings out into the field area here. But looking at the rest of the mini-map, it seems a lot of it's about the same elsewhere here. Definitely looks better. Gotta say that about every single map, even if they didn't change how it plays, it definitely looks, they look completely different. And also the scale of things look a lot better as well, in my opinion. Like sometimes the scale of like buildings or like trucks and stuff just seemed off. So that's still there, however, I do think, you know, these aren't here on the live server. Really hope these people don't end up shooting. I don't think they will. So a couple little added buildings, I think. I'm not always the best for remembering little things like that. They did add kind of a wall there to kind of break up the fight. Hopefully this person doesn't end up... he killed Randall. We have a track, or no, a track and soccer field. That wasn't very nice. They killed you, Randall. That's been nerfed as far as TDs go, I feel like. There's less cover for them there. But this area seems kind of unchanged outside of all like the little bits of stuff. Checking, you can still shoot through there. Scale of this building feels a lot smaller too. Yeah, it seems like the changes they did was 9-line. And I'm trying to look. Look, there's Stalin? Somebody. Or Lenin? I don't know. I don't even know. The picture of somebody I've seen before. Definitely set in somewhere near Russia. I don't know where Ensk is located, honestly, specifically. It seems like they've kept this area the samesies. Yeah, you can't shoot underwater if you're drowning. Looks like I shot right through that truck, but I probably missed. I should have pulled you to my team, Randall. Okay, Lenin. I have no idea what Roy is. Anyone want to give me a helping hand? Trying to kill myself. Alright, so I somehow rammed him without dying. I don't know how that worked out there. Full speed ahead. I can, if you want to place yeah, I know you said 12 Randall. If you want to do some more, I'll pull you over to my side so they can't TK you. So, unsure what map they actually won it, but I was looking to see Fisherman's Bay, to be honest. As you can see, Fisherman's Bay definitely changed in the center, which you wanted to see Erlenberg. So encounter, same map in the center. Yeah, basically the same for those two. But Fisherman's Bay here definitely is changed with center. You know, the buildings are a little bit more grouped up here. There's a couple, the rocks seem a little bit larger here too. But there's less hard cover here. There's still the bushes down this way though. But the town looks, yeah, the town looks like they kept everything in the same spots, even the small buildings. And then this probably got changed quite a bit over here. All right, Crow. Gotta remember to take screenshots here. I guess maybe when I get off the cap though. I'll start out over on this side though. No problem, Dim. Alright, so that's definitely a little different, but I don't think Artie... Can they drown themselves? Maybe if they drive back far enough. That's a possibility. But definitely a little bit different up in this area, but they added couple bushes there, a lot less bushes further towards the center though. Hello Ziada, nice to see you. I do not agree with communism. That's definitely a bit different there though, but the rough outline's the same. Added bushes here though, so that'll be nice for scouts, and they definitely added. This windmill is going to be nice cover for Artie. Or from Artie. The water guy strikes again. It's got to have some job security, you know? So it's going to be nice for both sides. See you, Gus. And see you, Nice Cuppa. Thanks for watching, guys. So this area is definitely a lot different. Uh-oh, I feel like that's the guy that was asking me to see certain maps. I don't know what he was asking me to see though with saying Roy. But honestly, he's about to get kicked out of my training room if he team kills me completely here, because I would like to see this entire map here. I don't know why he's trying to kill me. Thank you, other person. So that area has definitely changed quite a bit, and a lot more open here in the center. What do they have here? There's a puddle over here too. I'm gonna get far away from that Centurion now. Doesn't look like they opened up that ledge, which the town looks pretty much the same. Hello, Nikolai, nice to see you. The Object 268 version 4, I think it's a little poorly balanced as far as the frontal armor. It's kind of silly. So there's a nice line of bushes here. So, yeah, the center seems smaller, but honestly... Honestly, I think the changes to that are actually pretty fair. It'll be a little bit easier to push across, or, you know, just simply defend. And there's definitely a bit more cover that you can utilize in certain little groupings that they have. Where both sides kind of have a hedgerow to keep you from being spotted from the town. But it seems like, you know, they did add this too. I saw that you can't fall in here as easily. I remember seeing that in a video. And it seems like the rest of this hasn't changed much. However, that did change a little bit to where it looks like you can potentially hold down a little bit here in some tanks. And there's even a bush to kind of keep you covered. So they've added a little bit more bushes over there, probably to get people to, you know, use the outer edge in the 9 line a little bit more. I would assume that they did the same with the other side. Yeah, there's some bushes over here. Looks like there's still there's a little rock spot to kind of hold down over here as well. I'm just collecting everything, and I like how they added little safety bumpers so people can't fall off. Safety bumper wall, what have you. But yeah, it looks like Artie's not going to be able to slink back there anymore. Nope, can't shoot under the water. How am I drowning? I'm sticking out the top. Ah, there's oil. The water guy strikes again. You now have oil effects if you die in the water. Alright, so Fjords. Haven't seen Fjords yet. Hello, Arto fan. Nice to see you. The Fjords has changed quite a bit if you look at the mini-map compared to... He tried to kill me as well, the Centurion player. Alright, so where to start? Well, one thing of note, I mentioned earlier I saw someone in a mouse get up on top of the mountain. It was over here. They were able to get basically over to this building, I believe, on top. Anyway, though, let's start. I'll head up to this. I'll head up north first. Remember to get a screen grab here. I don't think he speaks any English, this guy we're playing with. But not too many changes, you know, when it comes to moving up here. Not that this is like the most important area, but you know, a couple little rocks here to go with. You're not able to drive through that at all. But it seems like they definitely, yeah. So it's a little bit easier, I would assume, to defend this now if you're a little bit outmatched here. Where you have hill, rocks, a divot, and another hill here, instead of just having kind of one. You still have this area where it definitely seems like you have a couple more options here for your team, whether or not you have a lot of people or just a few people. Hello, Mr. Sheridan. This area has been smoothed out a little bit with a little added trees to kind of push through. Same with this. So they've definitely changed this little center area around. A lot of these changes to the maps have definitely, they're definitely going to benefit light tanks. And even, you know, TDs, to where this area they kind of expanded on. You're not going to be able to get up here, it looks like. No. But definitely more tree cover and places to use over here. Where the center, that, you know, it still looks about the same there, but they did remove some rocks here in favor of having the kind of this road. You're still able to get out to that area. I'm not really going to drive out there since, you know, it's pretty straightforward. It's the town, it looks like they opened it up just a pinch. Definitely with having that wall running between those two building lines. You know, you're either not going to be, you can't get up or down as easily. But man, they changed this quite a bit. But somebody with a mouse had, I guess, either gotten pushed or driven up over these rocks somehow. I forget how they did show how they did it. I forget how they actually added this little peninsula here. Don't know how useful this is going to be be honest. I guess it's there, but I don't really know why anyone would ever go out here. But they definitely have switched the town around a bit in the south. Yeah, they removed the ship, as you noted there. A little bit more of a pronounced outcrop here. However, even though this is still here, there's no divot there to hide anymore. Like, I used to like putting like an IS-7 back there to hide the lower plate. And this is a little bit more pronounced as well. But this side still retains kind of a hold down spot. A lot more bushes here, which, you know, depending on if you're defending or pushing through here, could be good or bad. And they've removed basically that really small kind of pathway along the water there. Alright, so big changes here. Less of a drop here, less of a rock there, but still cover to where you can push through. But this is, you know, this is definitely new here with the pathway up. So giving you another kind of option on, you know, this new map here. Yeah, I'm all for giving people more options to where, I guess for people that used to climb up here, wargaming, this is how they should make climbing areas work, to where, don't know how useful this will be because you don't have much cover, but at least it's like part of the map and like balancing is concerned. See, that is stuff I like, to where wargaming adding stuff like that makes sense. Instead of having like random rocks that you have some teammates trying to climb up and they fail half the time, and you know. But this area seems a lot more interesting. Flattening? I wouldn't say that they're flattening all the maps. So they definitely removed a lot of cover in here, but you know, a lot of maps, they're still keeping the important areas. But one thing of note is, you know, a lot of maps, you know, currently saying like 9.22 and prior, when they started reworking maps back when, before physics and stuff, they made maps a lot more bumpy, to where they used to be flatter, kind of like this, to where you still have the tactical spots kind of available, you know, the huge rocky outcrops, the small little hills and stuff, but you don't have like little bumps that just, you know, kind of bounce you around all over the place for no reason. I'm personally a fan in them kind of flattening maps out a little bit where it makes sense. Like, not everywhere has like little potholes everywhere. Like, they definitely opened up the center here, which I like, because they keep, you know, this isn't the first kind of map, excuse me, we saw it on Erlenberg where they added in little pathways with a little bit of cover to where you can set up and shoot from, or you can push through with a little bit of trees covering you. But Fjords is definitely a map that needed to be reworked, and I'm glad that they have taken that to heart here, because it, you know, it looks a lot different, even though it has the same bones. It's all good, Dim. Your chat's not throttled specifically. I have... It's on for everybody. I have it for my live streams because, like, a lot of times, like on my scheduled streams, which here's a ship, you know, to keep up with chat and like all the tank requests, because usually I take tank requests during my streams. I have slow mode on. It's limited to about every 12 or 14 seconds per message, but that's for everybody. It's just so I can keep up on chat when I'm, you know, normally streaming. Because sometimes when I start getting up to, you know, about 100 people or so, if I kind of remove that, and especially if you get like a random drive-by like troll, it's impossible kind of to, you know, keep up with chat. But, you know, it doesn't target anyone specifically. But definitely some nice changes to Fjords here, to where I feel like the changes they've made here, it makes it a lot more complex rather than basically push here, push there, a couple tanks in the center, and that's it. To where there's a lot of little pathways now, even through the center, and even, you know, pushing through here, to where, you know, I guess you can't shoot through the building there. See you, Nikolai. If you're talking about like what's showing up on the live stream, say over here, this it is a little bit delayed, to where, you know, I have about a 30-second delay. So if you're talking about popping up here on the stream, that will have a bit of a delay. But if you mean like typing in the chat like this, basically the only thing I have set up on my chat is the slow mode, to where it's about one message per about 12 or 14 seconds I have it set up. But, you know, that's mainly, it came about because of spammers, but also, you know, when the chat gets really fast, it helps me kind of keep a pretty good pace with it. We have some extra people here. That guy quit. Alright, so what else do we got here? Corellia, maybe? Oof, nah. Hello, Rowie Pro. Nice to see you. I think that guy kind of went AFK. Oops. Yeah, thanks again, you know, Randall, and also GG from earlier. I don't know any of these other people, but it's nice having, you know, enough people to be able to do a training room here, especially, you know, not speaking Russian or anything. But yes, as far as Twitch, it does, my chatbot on Twitch, it just runs and it keeps track of view time right now. However, you know, it doesn't sync with YouTube. Basically, I just have it set up until a chatbot comes out that works on both at the same time. You know, I just have a Twitch set up to where it tracks your view time, to where I'll port it over eventually, you know, if I do find a chatbot that works on both and has what I want. So far, looks a little barren here. A little bit of changes when it comes to back here, those camping spots. And definitely flattened out a little bit over in that area. To kill a sheriff, so that just means you don't see too many of them a lot of times. It's just basically a wargaming account. You'll see a little crosshair over their name in the game, basically in the player list, like next to their tank and their username. It seems like they added a few more bushes to this area, but it's just something to where you only complete it if you see one in a match. Like, I've played the game since 2011. I've probably only completed it a grand total of like 3 or 4 times. The best piece of equipment, I think, is you're either going to want to go with optics, but I believe ventilation gives you the biggest increase over the standard ventilation if you're talking about bond equipment. But that area is a little bit different, but it feels mostly the same, just a few little differences around the edges there. But yes, the scale of things, the maps do feel larger. The scale is definitely a little bit more appropriate when it comes to like the sizes of tanks compared to like rocks and stuff. So this is definitely a little bit more flat and a little bit larger of a gap there in between the 2 rocks. This is a little bit more opened up back here as well. This will definitely have a play with assault and defense here. Really, Pro, there's really nothing you can do about the sheriff thing. You either come across them or not. It's just basically a wargaming employee, or say like a player given a sheriff account that plays. If you kill them, you get gold, but you're not gonna, there's no way to actually know when you're gonna come across one. So that area, feels a little bit more open up there. This is definitely a lot more water. The water guy strikes again. But this area looks about the same. They've removed a few rocks and stuff from this area, it seems like. And there's a lot more open ground. I'm curious to see. So they changed this slightly over here. But yeah, really, you know, as far as answering it, which this is the same here. You know, the sheriff stuff, basically, if you come across someone and you see a crosshair next to their name, it'll be red. Say like up here. That's where you know you come across one, but you're gonna come across like one every year. So this area is a little bit more covered, but not much. But they definitely repositioned this rock a little bit there. But still the same gameplay here, with the rocks looking about the same up here. So they didn't really change too much with Corellia here. Just it looks like some different bush spots. Specifically down in this area, they changed a little bit of the edges, like the little cutaways. Right here, there's still a bush here, but they removed the little incline. It's a little bit flatter here, which bodes well for a lot of tanks. But there's still a little bump up in this area. I feel like there weren't two bushes there either before. Seems like the rest of this is... Yeah, rest of this is looking pretty much the same here. Don't think these two bushes were here prior. I knew the rock was still there. The daisy. But yeah, basically, like Dim said, it is really dependent on the specific tank, but typically vents and even a gun rammer or ventilation. So it feels like for the most part they opened this map up and specifically, you know, they made it a little bit more, you know, a little bit more open in most of the area. However, looking at it, they definitely added a lot more bushes as far as like blanket cover in certain key spots as far as the center goes, and they removed a couple little places to where you have a lot more open ground, but you have a lot more cover in kind of the key areas that actually have the bushes on them. But not too many changes for Corellia here. I think the main change comes from they definitely nerfed at the bottom of the map here, or the right side. They basically nerfed this area for TDs. It looks like you can still get shots off, you know, basically shooting this way, but it's definitely, I know he's gonna probably reset me, but we'll see. They definitely nerfed it a little bit to where it's gonna be harder to snipe from back there. But it looks like this map's definitely going to play somewhat the same. Be very nice if I could cap or something. Let's see. Well, am I getting anything? I don't think I'm going to get any bond equipment, to be honest. I think I'm going to hold on to it just for the hope, because Wargaming actually mentioned they might, even if you don't do clan wars and stuff, say just if you do like ranked battles here or there and whatnot, they're going to open up purchasing potentially like premium tanks for bonds. But you know, it's not like a sure thing, but it's a potential. But I don't honestly care about the bond equipment to spend all of them just on that. So all right, I guess looked at that. All right, so I've tried a lot of stuff here. Lakeville. But yeah, so far, you know, I haven't seen any changes to maps that haven't, you know, really made, like, you know, not really any good sense, which, Lakeville looks very nice here. We'll give them credit. They're, I guess you can't call them like skyboxes, but basically the, you know, the out of bounds scenery is definitely nice for each map. I'm gonna take a stroll up the valley to begin with. Hopefully I don't get like rammed by somebody, but but as noted, they did change the valley a bit here with Lakeville. I feel like some people are just going to be like gawking at the graphics for Lakeville instead of playing when it first hits the live server. So still, that area is the same. However, changing a little bit with kind of the bump there, or not the bump, but this little elevated area. The main change though is they did flatten this out. You can still get up on the side here from this side, but they changed basically this bump to where it's much flatter, which I'm personally fine with. You know, it'll make it a little bit more less campy in my opinion, because it'll be harder to hold down there, and it'll be a lot easier if people, like if your team does decide to basically push the valley, it'll be easier for your team to actually push the valley now, instead of being held back by, say, like one tank hold down there. This side looks the same as far as this. I would say a little bit nerf there to that TD like camping spot. They made it easier to get through this area, it looks like, as well. A little bit harder though for Artie to shoot over there, honestly. So that's a little bit of a nerf to SPGs. And they actually, bravo, they have made this a little bit depressed there, so you're not blown to bits as easily. The resistance, it feels better. You know, it's not as soft, so that's definitely an added bonus there. There's still the one spotting a location there. Kind of the secondary one, they kept the same here with this bush. That's nice to see. So yeah, it's definitely easier to push through the valley, honestly. And with that, a little bit less, you know, of a bump in the center. It'll be a lot more dynamic over there. It's still, you know, a straight shot basically straight through whatever enemies are there, but it'll be a lot more, you know, up in the air instead of just putting a couple tanks there and defending. So they removed a lot of these little walls here also in the courtyard, so it's going to be a little bit easier to shoot through here, because a lot of times people, you'll notice with sniper view, kind of miss their shots due to the little building, or not the buildings, but the walls. They've opened up maybe a little bit here, but they still have that rock there to kind of block it. Am I a light tank fan? Right now, I'm not the biggest light tank fan, only because I've ground through a lot of them, and I'm finishing up on the Germans, and then the only ones I have left are the Russian ones. But I don't mind playing lights. I'm more of a heavy tank player, honestly, and I like mediums, but yeah, I play pretty much a little bit of everything. But that's where, like, typically on my streams, I'm up to 367 tanks in my garage, to where I pretty much play whatever people request. So every stream, it's kind of up to the viewers to pick what I'm playing. So the center here, yeah, I'm just going to start drowning myself, but the center doesn't seem changed much here. Outside of, it's a little bit flatter to where it is going to be a little bit more difficult to kind of hold down in the center. But for the most part, the main change looks like it's going to come from the valley. And it's a good change there, because it'll make it a lot less useless for your team to actually push it. You know, a lot of people like doing that. Hello, buddy. Like Levi woke up back there. What else do we got? We have Live Oaks, which looks like it's changed a bit in the center. I have no idea what Roy is. That's the second person. I think it's a different Russian person that said Roy. I don't know what Roy is. It's probably like a map name maybe, or I don't know. So Live Oaks, one of the honestly worst maps in the game, I feel like, but you don't see many changes over here, but I'm still going to take a look. But you can note that they changed the center a bit. Don't know how useful it's going to be because you can see little bits of cover, but you're still going to get blasted from basically the north or the south. I'll still take a look at it, but I feel like they need to... It would here in the center, but only if the map was much larger, so you're not like automatically spotted. Oh, Roy is go. Okay, so Roy means go. But yes, Randall, I got the screenshots I needed. Yeah, I know you said you needed to pop out by midnight. I don't know what time it is exactly for you, but you know, if you needed to pop out, I'm fine running alone here with the Russian guys here too. Now that they're not trying to TK us. But basically every battle, you know, whenever I make my mini-map a little bit larger, I'm taking screenshots to where when I make map strategies, I kind of clip them out and draw from there. So we got a little bit out of cover here with these two buildings, so I would say it's not a viable flank going through the center at all, except for later on in battles, but I guess it's better. I will say TDs are probably going to camp the hell out of this spot. Bushes on both sides, bushes here, hard cover from Artie. But I don't know about going through the center, except for later, you know, in matches and lights and mediums. But it doesn't look like they changed too much over here. You still have like the same kind of hilly areas, kind of outline, bushes kind of in the same spots. So that's basically the same. Take a look at the rest of the town area, but the town looks like it's set up the same to where the change just looks like it just solely has to do with basically the center area here. Okay, my other PC is turned on. The ghost is back. Yeah, I don't notice any other changes except for basically the center, which I don't know, you know, again, I don't know how useful it's going to be, but you know, at the very least it does give a little bit better option, I guess, going through the middle. It's still mainly going to be a two-flank map though. Still just a couple bushes there, but nothing too different. Looks the same out that way. Does look like they removed some buildings. Nah, maybe not. I was a little bit off there. The hell was that sound? I guess the sounds from whatever was there, the water tower, who knows? Something's making noise back there. Looks like they kept the town exactly the same though, which I've never had any problems with the town up here. It's just, you know, typically the south flank is more important, and I think it'll actually stay that way. You know, even given its center changes, I think this is going to play pretty similar. This seems a little bit deeper than it used to be, but not too much of a change here outside of just a little bit of differences in the swamp. Time to go and drown myself. I forgot that I said yes earlier. Hey, little buddy. Hey. So I'm gonna pop another raffle off. I'm getting towards kind of the end of the stream here too. I don't have too many maps to go, to be honest. I'm definitely not gonna do the like encounter mode ones and stuff like that. I'll get those at a later date. But I think I'm down to, which I don't think the raffle works with all caps, unfortunately, John. Or wait, it actually does. It actually worked. It previously didn't work with all caps, so I guess he fixed that. So Levi, he's an English Springer Spaniel. Then, not that you've seen her, but I'm watching my brother's dog. She's a pit bull. She's over on the other side here. Levi's the official stream mascot here. His favorite time is stream time. Hello, Fubar. I will not say whatever that means. But hello nonetheless. Alright, so as far as other maps, let's see, I've done... Ding, ding, ding. Done that. Sand River I haven't done, but we've seen that. Redshire, Prok. Hop into the Grand Battle map here, because this is a little bit different. This is definitely the latest I think I've ever streamed. Hello, Ahmad, nice to see you. But they've definitely switched around. Why won't it let me increase the map? Sad. Or did I have it too big? Nah, it won't let me go up to a larger side. That's lame. Oh well. I just like using the largest. I don't play War Thunder, no. World of Tanks, and then Tuesdays we play, I let people vote on, and we play a random game. Oh, well, hello, Jack, then. But of note, they changed the center mainly on this map around. This is exactly where I'm going to be heading here. Or at least I believe they changed the center around. Let me rephrase that. A little bit upset it won't let me get the map any bigger, but I guess that has to do with the size of the teams that can fit on this map. So, coming from this side, you're still kind of walled off here, as far as this large wall here. Or, not wall, but cliff. But they changed this around to where now there's only a path coming up from this side. Hello, Mr. AMX. Coming into the center. And this, you know, castle's definitely a little bit more pronounced. Where the enemy team has their own little pathway coming over here. So they're completely separate. And there's a lot more cover basically in this center area that kind of joins the two together. But you could still be shot, you know, in the center of it from the town. But a pretty big difference with this center here. So it actually makes it more fair, because right now the northern team, which we spawned at, has a pretty big disadvantage, and there's a little bit more cover in this area with a little overwatch position. And there's no entrance at all over here, which I actually didn't even see in the video. But or wait, maybe there is an entrance. Duh, I'm in the I got completely lost there. So there is still the entrance. But basically they rebalanced the center here to make it fair for both sides. The rest of the map, I believe that there's not too much differences. Which I got a couple logs here with me. You know, I'm just keeping them just in case I want to hit somebody off to the side. I don't think there's many changes elsewhere, but I'm still going to take a little peek. We're in a training room just checking out the new HC maps. Congrats, Dim, on winning the raffle. Looking out over here, though, looks to be very, yep, pretty much the same over here, except for, I believe, maybe an added building. And this rock seems like it's moved a little bit further over, but I could be mistaken. You know, I haven't played a ton on this map, so it's hard to say. But yeah, the main change I wanted to look at, I'm just going to take a peek at the town. Looks like they added, surprise, surprise, a little bit of water in next to the town. And they added a couple little things here, I think, but they definitely reworked this area, it seems like. So basically with raffles, so I have a stream currency. My dog's named Levi, of course. It's called Levi Biscuits. So basically you get them for watching. You can win them in raffles. People that tip, sponsor me and stuff get Levi Biscuits too. To where basically you can buy stuff with it from my stream shop. There's a link in my video description below. You'll see like stream shop, chatbot shop, something like that. It's called Fussbot. So you can buy certain things like tipping Levi like a dog biscuit. You can challenge me in certain tanks when I'm doing like a normal stream where I have to hit like a certain amount of damage and stuff. There's a lot of different items up there. So they definitely reworked this area. So there's a central area to push up still, but definitely a little bit different to where coming up here, you're not able to climb up this side anymore. And it kind of ropes back around like it currently does, but they cut off being able to get up here from that northern side specifically. See, Jack, Ahmad, thanks for stopping by. So there's a little minor change there, but again, basically just balancing it between the teams so they're both fair. Let's see if we can go drown in the little puddle over here. But I think that's it for this map here. But the rest of it doesn't seem like there's much of a difference. I don't know if we can drown in this little... No. Thanks for the subscription. No. He's trying to auto-aim. Won't let me auto-aim on him because he's an ally. Darn. Speed ahead. Will I make it across? No. I feel like a lot of people are just going to be driving around like this. I know I might be doing that. Alright. So I'm trying to figure out what other maps I need to do here. You know, it would be nice if I could get them all done tonight, but we'll see how long I last. Honestly, my throat's starting to hurt a bit here since I streamed earlier today. He made it a little bit farther than I did, so I guess technically you might be able to get... Yeah, you can probably get across over here, you know, if you're in a light. Hello there, Floyd. I can invite you here. Here. Alright, so what other maps? Moravanka? I don't know if Moravanka really changed. I haven't done Overlord. Overlord yet, but I don't know if it changed much. Oh no, some people left. Don't know if this guy... That guy in our last battle, or did he like leave? That's what I'm trying to figure out here. The spider guy. He was in the E50. I don't think he's playing though from the looks of it. So it's all good. Floyd. CMW. Thanks for watching for a bit. Have a nice night. Alright, so we have Dreaded Overlord here. It doesn't look like they changed the map as much as they had it in Super Test, to where honestly they changed it around quite a bit, but it looks like a lot of it's the same here. We'll see though. Trying to see if there's anything that's noteworthy that stands out, but I think it just might be graphically they updated it, and even at that, compared to some other maps, it doesn't look like they... I know where my parents are. I know where my parents are, I won't say though. I think, honestly, this is probably the, like, you know, it definitely looks better than it does, but for Overlord being a D-Day map, it's actually a little bit underwhelming, to be honest, if I can say so. I would expect like artillery barrages, because Arctic region had those artillery pieces firing at the beginning of the map. There's even maps with like an airplane crashing and stuff. Who knows? Maybe they're gonna rework this before it hits live. But see you, nice guy. Hello, JT. Nice to see you. Yeah, I'm definitely on late here. You know, I'm getting towards the tail end here, but just looking at all the new maps here and getting screenshots that I need to. Excuse me. Doesn't look like they changed much at all, to be honest, except for graphics go. But yeah, definitely, I would say this is the first map to where, like, I can notice a difference, but with the graphics, but I would say they didn't really touch a thing outside of just like porting it over, like adding in little bits and pieces here. Yeah, that is true. That is maybe a little higher there, it seems like. Definitely, yeah, it's a little bit steeper there. And that's a little bit smaller on this side. They've added a bit of rubble into the center. I think you can... Yep, you can destroy that. But it seems from a gameplay perspective, they definitely didn't. Yeah, it definitely doesn't seem like they really touched anything when it comes to like. I almost feel like that's new. Honestly, I don't think that's there in the live server. And I know that's there. I feel like that's new as well. That secondary bunker there. Same with the other side. So maybe they did change just a little bit. I could be mistaken here, but I do think that's changed a bit. So that would provide, you know, more cover if you're pushing, say, from this way. It would provide more cover from being hit from back near the base. See ya, Nox. Thanks for watching. Have a good night, guys. No. See you, Demi. I'm gonna be yeah, going to bed somewhat soon too. Starting to, you know, get towards the tail end of maps to where I did the ones that changed a lot in the beginning. Huh, you can't destroy the boats either. Well, that's nifty. Unfortunately, I hope people that push the beach a lot don't realize that, because they might think that there's extra cover down here. But I remember seeing they had Overlord in Super Test, and they had changed it to where basically they mainly changed this area a lot and added a couple more entrance points to the upper area and made the beach a little bit smaller, I feel like, and a little bit more useful. But I guess they kind of scrapped that, because unless they're gonna, you know, change the map in the future, they might, you know, I feel like they might feel like it's fine at this point. But as far as maps left that I have that I didn't get to, a lot of them were in see you, JT. Have a nice day at work. Yeah, a lot of the ones I didn't get to, I got to when the first like sandbox came out for the HC maps. So that's Sand River, Cliff, what else? El Haloof. I don't think they've really done too many changes to them. I still might have time to pop into them though. We'll see. What else I got to? I didn't get the Klondike. I don't think they changed Klondike though. I really hope they don't change Klondike, because that map strategy guide I made for it somewhat recently in the past couple months took me a pretty long time to make, given how large that map is. I had to do like maybe 5 or 6 outtakes too during the video, because I'd get like halfway through and then I would honestly like hate what I was saying, and it would be like 40 minutes long, and I try to keep things somewhat short. Nobody wants to hear someone talk about a map for 40 minutes, so but honestly, Overlord, this is the first map where you can tell they added stuff and changed things here or there, but given what this map's supposed to kind of you know, represent, it's a little bit lackluster compared to their other ones. All right. Now. Already played that. Well, not today, but is Klondike on here? I'm not seeing Klondike. Strange. I will pop on Mines. It's a small one. Get that out of the way. For some reason, I don't see Klondike, which, you know, they did state that, you know, the first test here is definitely not the most polished version, but I'm not sure what other maps are missing. But I'm not seeing Klondike on the list, or, you know, under a different name either. Or this might have been, like, I guess the maps they had finished up till then, and they don't have Klondike ported, since it's the newest map. Mine's here, though. So they changed it a little bit. Particularly, there's a lot more cover from, like, already shots in the center, given that some things are taller. But they changed this corner specifically, which will make a little bit easier not to get hit by arty. Where you had a boulder there before, but it still wasn't like the best cover. But out in this area, it still plays the same with TD Overwatch there, and all the different little rocky areas about the same here. Need to remember to get those screenshots, to be honest. Yeah, I don't know if they've changed anything outside of maybe, nah, they still have that. It looks, you know, there's waves here. I don't think they affect anything, do they? No, that's honestly a shame. The waves look honestly cool, but they don't affect you drowning. That would kind of be funny if say a large swell came in at like 2 minutes into the map and drowned any arty out there. Right, so this area still has about the same amount of bushes, but I feel like they removed this rock's back here to where I think there used to be a little bit more hard cover up in the front here towards this side. So that's a little bit different here, and that rock's a little bit smaller, so arty actually has a better shot over there. This building's kind of shoehorned a little bit further back. And it feels like overall the buildings over here provide a little bit less cover for anyone pushing this way. This ledge... Okay, they still have the ledge here. Good. But now the main change seems to be in the center, getting to that now. And also this little corner with adding this pillar here instead of just a rock. It's still going to play the same as far as fighting here, but given that it's a round object with this little spot sticking out. Yeah, you could shoot a little bit further over, but which they that's still there, that little crack. I was like, they covered the crack, but the main difference here, a little bit more hard arty cover, but they flattened this wall out a little bit, so you used to have decent arty cover, but not the best from here. It was at a little bit more of an angle, not much though, like this. So arty will be able to hit you better here, not from the other side, though if you still position that way, but yeah, that spot's the same to where they did remove a little bit of cover here, I feel like, as he pointed out. But there's a couple little extra tall areas to protect you from SPG shots, but Nothing crazy as far as changing like the entire center area, just providing a little bit more static cover. And this area is a little bit easier to shoot through, I feel like. It used to be raised up a little bit, and this used to be a little bit further down, to where it'll be easier to get hit from outside here. But basically, you know, pushing from the south to the north, you still have pretty good SPG cover. However, this other side loses a little bit here if you're pushing from the north to the south. You could still get hit by arty here before the change, but there's a little bit less than there used to be, it looks like. Alright, where is the best place to crash? Or maybe I'll go pick on Floyd here. But outside of that, not too many changes otherwise. They broke a rock. Hey, there's another puddle. Maybe they did change it a little bit. It feels a lot more open. You are right. It does feel bigger. Not just this one, but as far as this area. Which, as you can see, Floyd's shell and the Indian Panzer coming at us. There's a different effect to where he's most likely just firing the standard round. Where if you're firing heat, HE and stuff, it should look a little bit different for incoming shells flying at you, even if you haven't spotted somebody. Alright, so am I missing anything? Like, we've done Airfield, I didn't do Cliff. I wonder if Himmelsdorf changed much. I'm not sure. I've played Himmelsdorf before. Like, there's definitely Redshire, which has changed quite a bit that we saw in previous tests, but let's hop into Redshire here, given that it's still pretty different compared to what it used to be. Are you popping out, Randall? I know it's getting pretty late. I'm kind of determined to get like all the map images and stuff I need. Okay, Randall, oops, that poor guy in the Sheridan. I could have fit him in. I did a Redshire previously. Oh, your client died? Well, if you want to pop in for more, you know, I can, you're still in the training room, but I know it's getting late. I thought you'd logged off for a second. Regardless, though, you know, it was definitely helpful. You know, thanks for getting the training room start it in the beginning. Pretty much have every single screenshot I had or need. The only ones, you know, I don't have are the maps from like the previous sandbox. I forgot to take them, but they're definitely ones that were, even if I don't get them tonight, I'll be able to grab them, say tomorrow. Now, the main difference we're going to find is a giant blimp on Redshire here. And make sure I actually get enough screenshots here. So for heavies and TDs and tanks that actually like to fight over here, it's going to be a lot better. Basically, you're able to hold down back here. This area is still kind of here to hold down a little bit, but the blimp's here to really screw over a lot of arty shots. And it's going to be glorious. I might actually fight over here more, to be honest, because a lot of times you head over here and you're trying to brawl, which is, you know, a challenge of its own, having a ton of tanks right ahead of you. But you're also getting arty to death, where that'll provide a bit of arty cover. Outside of that change, they didn't change too much. Outside of this is a little bit larger to provide a little bit more cover. So where it's a little bit more difficult to shoot from the center area into that flank. These rocks seem a little bit smaller here, with a little bit less bushes. I believe that there's some bushes there. They removed the area to kind of, I believe you can get up there still. I could be wrong, and they might have fixed it as far as climbing up there. But this ridgeline's practically the same. The same with this area. There is a tree over here, unless they changed it from the previous test to where if you run into it, it's not destructible. The rest of them are, though. But this big tree, basically right here in the center, running into it, you're not going to be able to take it down, obviously. It's pretty darn big. So that one, you know, don't run into it. To where these areas are roughly the same. They might be a little bit different, like the rough outlines, but more or less the same gameplay there. Well, it's easier to say blimp. I guess you are correct there. Be nice if you could shoot it down. The other change, though, so over on this side, there's not too much of a change further back here, except for, like, I'll show this area off down on the bottom of the mini-map. However, they did change basically the castle area here. So this is still the same rough outline, but basically a lot more cover here and a little bit more condensed getting in. However, it still plays the same. It's just they just shift it around how it looks, of course, and also the gaps are a little bit smaller to get through. But basically, this area plays the same, just slightly different when you're getting hit by arty, and also the gaps are a little bit smaller to get into, especially from this side. This got a little wider. I feel like that got a little bit narrower. But back here, if I'm not mistaken, this changed up a little bit to where this side you still have basically the same spots back here for arty or really hard campers. But this area back here, I believe, changed just a little bit, and they added a couple more like trees and bushes and stuff. Not that it's very useful, to be honest. I don't think this is how the map is currently, but yeah, I could be wrong. But you got lots of bushes there, you know, to camp near the flag for some reason. Not sure I can actually kill myself on this map, but you know, Redshire here, the main change comes with, you know, the heavy area over there. And yeah, I guess they did add a few, you're right there, Floyd. They added a few bushes in this area. How far am I? Lakehurst? Never heard of it, if it's an actual place. No. Huh. Well, that's nice to know. Yeah, it's always unsettling when a game makes a big of a change, you know, like the World of Tanks is doing. Ah, I forgot about the AMX 13105. Hello, Tara. I'm glad I got to kind of set my OBS settings up a bit. Took me quite a while to be able to get it. Alright, so we still have a few matches here as far as maps go. I haven't gotten Sand River. Hop into this guy. In New Jersey? Well, I know the Hindenburg, yes. Still drawing a blank, to be honest. I feel like I should know it, but it's really a true thing to where if you live like as far south in New Jersey as I do, you typically don't really know much outside of up to like Atlantic City, Camden. If it's above that, I've never heard of it, honestly. Alright, but honestly, just a few more maps here. I'm a little bit upset that Klondike's not in, because that would pretty much mean that all of them are done. It blew up there? I guess I learned another thing today. First it was the archways on Ruinberg, and now it's stuff, or I'll say a blimp blowing up. Alright, so got the screenshots I need here. So Sand River, they changed a little bit. You know, obviously it looks better, but it opens up a little bit better, and a little bit more flat in this area, to where it just takes out a bunch of unnecessary little bumps like pushing through, but still, you know, plays roughly the same. It's just a little bit different, to where, you know, they smooth out places that don't need, you know, unnecessary bumps, but roughly the same as far as the gameplay up here. Hello, Scud. Nice to see you. Same with here, you know, they kind of smoothed it out a little bit, but basically the north here is going to play roughly the same, where they haven't changed much. Sand River, it's mainly, they changed a little bit in the town down here. Because this town area is roughly the same setup too, if not identical. Yeah, I feel like I should know that, but I do like history, honestly, but I guess, you know, when it comes to history classes, I don't think they really taught us anything specifically about New Jersey like that. This area, they did a little bit of changes, which Basically, there's a little bit less cover, specifically right on the nose here, to where it extended a little bit further out, say the elevation. So there's a little bit less cover from getting shot from the center. These sand dunes all seem pretty much the same here. Yeah, I don't think there's really any real changes here. It just, they changed the town as far as like how things look, and this building specifically. I guess the mosque looks a lot better as well. You little doggo. He's like, why aren't we in bed? Doesn't look like they changed any of the routes here. That's another good thing, where they technically, this map is going to play the same outside of a few like minor differences, but nothing like out of this world different. The battle of the century. Huh, the sand glitters? You get me to zoom in, but I have the extra effects. Oh, I missed. The extra effects turned off in sniper view. Come on, auto aim. Ah. I was trying to go for a fun kill there. Ah, maybe the sand does glitter. Nice thing to point out there. Yeah, of course it doesn't glitter when you're looking away from the sun, but yeah, that's actually pretty neat. Alright, so I think as far as maps go, I've got, what is it? El Haluf Cliff we're down to. At this point, I'm honestly inclined just to do them all, you know? But tomorrow's stream, you know, it's going to start at 8 p.m. like usual. I'm probably going to pop on the test server here just for, you know, I'll probably do maybe like 2-3 battles tomorrow on the test server. Just because I know some people that couldn't catch like tonight's stream since it was pretty late and kind of unscheduled, to where, you know, I'll pop on a few battles there and then I'll pop back over to the live server after that. So as far as, or no, I forgot Prokhorovka. I never can say that. All right. Oops, someone popped in there at the end. Well, a lot of maps, yes. You know, I wouldn't just say Russian tanks, basically. Like, it'll help Chinese tanks out a bit. Like German TDs and stuff, like the heavily armored ones. But more or less, you know, I remember playing the game before physics, to where a lot of maps were flatter. And honestly, it is better in a way, because the unnecessary bumps that are added, where it's not like a tactical, like, here you still have like the little ridges, but say they removed like a little divot in the middle of nowhere. It's a lot better to where it's just, you know, it's unnecessary to have them. Does it provide like more tactical options? Sure, but you know, I don't mind them removing a few things. So definitely added a few more bushes along the road here, which I gotta remember to take screenshots. And you know, there's still a little grouping here, but they've changed the groupings up a little bit. So you still have a pretty big grouping here for both sides, but it's definitely a different shape. It looks like you have a little bit more cover coming from this end. These bushes aren't really going to do much. Or yeah, a little bit different, but definitely a lot more cover along the actual road itself there. But as far as hills and stuff go, basically I would say the same. This feels like it feels like this might be actually a little bit lower than it used to be, especially coming here. This feels like more of an incline. It used to be a little bit flatter. This does it does look the same though. This never was like super deep here. Just enough to, you know, hold down your tank, but not enough to hide it completely. I don't think this tank was here specifically, if I'm not mistaken. All the same there. Could be there, honestly. I just don't remember it being there, or maybe not as big. It might have been there, but smaller. This area though, you know, you used to be, or you still can get up it on the live server, but it's just a little bit different now. Unless they changed it, you could get up it. Nope, they actually changed it. You used to be able to get up on the last sandbox, so they fixed that. You can't get up that anymore in a they added that little lip, the overhang. This side, so far, this definitely seems a little bit less. Nah, it's about the same as far as like the little drop off here. I thought it looked a little shallower, but more, honestly, more bushes here. Less bushes here. There's still that little spot though. And honestly, less bushes here as well. But there's still some bushes up that way. So a little bit different bush placement on the hill, it looks like. Don't think I'm going to be able to get up there. I'm curious to see if they changed anything specifically up in the camping spot. I've never really gotten why they leave this open without it, you know, with it being so far cut off. But it's more or less because a lot of people end up camping there and they never take a shot. But it seems like they've reworked this a little bit as far as the shape, but as far as the gameplay dynamics, it's going to be the same. Either you camp very far up here, or you camp right behind this little hill. You're a little bit closer up. But not too many differences here. The main changes come from different bush placement, and specifically over in the center here. The bushes are in a different spot. So minor things, but given that this is a pretty wide open map, still pretty important changes there. So we got a couple other maps left. I'm glad they fixed that one spot back where, you know, Floyd was in the Indian Panzer at their base. How you can't climb up there. So they fixed that. You're not able to get up there anymore. That's a nice addition there. So as far as maps I haven't popped into, think I've gotten to all the ones down here. Moravanka? I didn't get to Moravanka. I actually did get there's more maps popping out. Oh lord. I thought I was down to like 2 more maps. Ah. But yeah, I thought I was down to just like a couple maps and they keep popping out. Now Moravanka, the changes here are mostly visual. Still need to get a screen grab though because the mini map has changed, which is, you know, the main thing. But as far as gameplay goes, they changed a little bit when it comes back to this area, I believe, but not too much as far as like changing the map too much to where it's not like recognizable. But as you notice, this area is still here, but they removed basically a lot of the bushes that you could kind of fire while not being seen. And then pushing over this way, it looks a little bit different. Tactically speaking, it's still going to play roughly similar, given that you still have a little bowl area here. But yeah, the mini-map, I keep needing to, I take screenshots because I need to make map strategies here. But the main difference comes via that area of the map. They still kept the center here the same. These buildings are all in similar spots. And this hill, it's in the same spot. It looks different, but pretty much everything is the same over in this area. Now I do think they did change a little bit out over here. They might have removed it from the sandbox though. There used to be an island, I think, over there. Which this seems a little bit steeper than it used to. I thought they might have removed a building down there, but it doesn't seem like it. Watch out, sunflowers! No! And maybe they did remove to where I used to, I believe the last test for the maps, there used to be like a little island. Or I guess you could drive over there, but it was a little bit different. But it seems like they didn't change anything else about this map when it comes to bush placement. It feels the same here as well, as far as there's never been a ton of cover in this area. Which, you know, I like this map, to where they did a little bit of changes here, which is good because this side compared to this side, I feel like this had a little bit of an advantage kind of defending that area. Go for a nice little dip here. Ooh, it's getting deeper. But I might maybe I'll just do one more here since it's getting pretty late here. But thank you, thank you very much, Randall, for the help, and also GG and Floyd as well, for helping me get the screen grabs here. And thanks for watching, guys, too. A little bit different stream than I normally do, since not really any, shooting and stuff tonight, but Still fun nonetheless. I think Floyd might have fallen asleep. I know I'm getting a little bit tired if I hadn't. My coffee's starting to wear off a bit. But let me pop into Dorf maybe. I'll do Cliff. Thank you. You know, you helped quite a bit here. It's hard, you know, to find, you know, someone to help you out for this long. But thank you for offering. It's, you know, it's helped out a lot. Definitely saved me a lot of time during tomorrow's stream too, to where, you know, I'm not gonna have to do this during, you know, one of the scheduled stream as well. But hopefully, you know, if I have some time tomorrow, I might start for some of the maps that haven't changed a ton in between, you know, what we currently have to what's here on the test. I might start updating some of my map strategies to where a few of them, you know, a couple bushes have changed to where it's pretty minor, to where I'll be able to tweak them pretty quickly, hopefully. Hardest part's just honestly photoshopping, but that shouldn't be too big of a deal, since getting the screenshots here, it's pretty easy for me to kind of splice them together. Now Cliff, you'll notice a couple little differences, but the rocks roughly are in the same spots, just slightly different sizes. But pushing up here, you'll notice it's mostly visual, but while these pillars don't really provide too much, say, hard cover, they can deflect shots and soak up shots, which is not too important. And this area is a little bit more open than it was, and this base area is a little bit more like less steep than it once was. But that really only comes into play if it's like really late in a match, and there's less cover here, basically from getting shot towards the base. I'm pretty sure knocking these over, yeah, they, you know, they fall into individual pieces. Now this area in the center, it has the same rough outline, however, a lot more hard arty cover, and these pieces here aren't actually destructible. So Artie's going to have a harder time hitting this center area where it normally aims. They also did, as you can see, basically mimic both sides to where each side has an equal chance to getting into the center now. It's all good, Floyd. I was wondering, I thought you fell asleep. Because I'm getting pretty tired too. But I'm actually, after this battle, I'm gonna call it quits for tonight, since, you know, it's getting pretty late. But thanks for, you know, popping in for a few battles and helping out here. Now they did change a couple little spots, you know, in town here to where it's a little bit more open and easier to shoot through outside of the walls that provide a little bit of cover. But basically the buildings are roughly in the same spots. It's just there's a little bit less bushes and little divots that you can be hidden by. And hear the ocean. There's actually a little statue down here as well. Be cool if you could head over there, to be honest. But as far as gameplay wise, they haven't changed much since the last test for this map. The main differences this come from like a little bit of, you know, destructible cover, and then in the center mainly adding in more arty cover. I guess they also did remove this kind of useless spot down here, that the only use for that was like getting an SPG down there or like running away. But overall, you know, not too much of a difference when it comes to cliff here. This is also a little bit more open, I guess, and there's actually a spot back here now. I didn't notice. Maybe they added this in, you know, compared to the last one, but yeah, there's a new spot back here. I don't think you're able to get to this on the server currently, so that's actually pretty neat to where I guess you can get TDs up here and you have pretty good shots even on the lighthouse and stuff being elevated. I'm actually going to take a look. I don't think the other side actually has one of those, given that this might be open. I thought it was closed, but looking at the mini-map, maybe they opened it up. It wasn't open. Basically the last sandbox test when it comes to cliff here. If they did, I think that's a good decision. That way both sides are kind of mirrored. It'll be interesting to see though. If they didn't open it, then I guess that side in the south has a slight advantage, I guess. Unless a lot of people camp there. But it's looking like, nope, they still kept the rock there. So this side loses out on... wait, no, it's open. It's really, really tiny. But nah, they opened that spot up. So both sides actually have two viable, like it's not even just your mountain goating. They actually have two viable but yeah, it's I'm actually happy that Wargaming, like speaking about it earlier, people were doing climbs they're not supposed to and stuff. These are two spots where adding these in were pretty smart on them, to where they're useful and they add more, you know, more depth to the maps. This one's definitely a little bit more hidden than the other one, but yeah. But that's gonna be, you know, this is gonna be it for me tonight. You know, I still had a few maps I didn't get to. I think about 2 or 3, but you know, it's about 1:30 in the morning here, so it's getting a little late. But thank you very much, you know, Randall, Floyd, GG for the help tonight. I'm gonna dive into oh, my crew got knocked out before anything else. But yeah, thanks for the help, guys. Yeah, hopefully you guys watching enjoyed seeing the new maps here. I pretty much got to every single one of them, outside of the only ones I didn't get to, outside of like attack and defense and counter assault, stuff like that, even though they removed attack and defense. So I didn't get to whatchamajig, Himmelsdorf and Malinovka. I believe they're the only two I didn't get to, and also Klondike, but that's not in the client currently, it looks like. And I believe they're removing fiery assailant, so but thank you again, Randall, for the help, and everyone else that popped in, and everyone who, you know, watched as well. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the stream here. You know, it's going to be an interesting update to where, you know, it is basically, you know, it's on the common test server, so anyone can, you know, pop in and try it. I'll be back tomorrow night, you know, 8 p.m. Start time. I'm most likely going to start on the test server here. I'm going to play like, you know, maybe 3 up to maybe 5 battles, so we'll see how long, but I'm not going to spend a ton of time on it, given, you know, I did the stream here for it, pretty much covered all the maps outside of, you know, a couple of them. But anyway, thanks again for watching, guys. Thank you very much for the help. Honestly, my throat's like, you've talked too much today. But see you guys. Have a nice night, and see you guys around.